Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Rotoworld Fantasy Basketball Q&A. I'm Raphielle Johnson, joined as always by Noah Rubin. Noah, how you doing today?
Raph, I'm doing well. It's a Tuesday, so got a long rest of this week, but a lot of fun basketball. And if Monday and honestly even Sunday is any indicator, it's going to be a really fun week of games, of exciting games.
Mm-hmm. One of those games, the Pistons are in Atlanta tonight. Second game of a back-to-back for Detroit. They may have some key guys back, may not, but if that win streak is going to end, tonight might be the night, given how well the Hawks played to finish up the road trip.
Do they have let me check this, two of the longer win streaks in the conference? They do have the two longest win streaks in the conference.
Yeah.
And then the Thunder have a longer win streak than the Hawks. So two teams playing really well in the East while being down starters. So it's fun to see a lot of these backups step up. So Cade Cunningham, I know, is questionable for tonight. So is Asar Thompson, so is Tobias Harris. So Detroit could be back to being pretty much fully healthy, or at least close to healthy.
Yeah.
So, but still should be a good game regardless.
Agreed. All right. Might as well get into some questions now since they're already lined up in the queue. Wemby13, welcome back. 9-cat, 12-team league. He's got Giddey, Cade, Harden, Rollins, Dyson, Quentin Grimes, Keyshawn George, Buzelis, Miles Turner, Porzingis, Zach Edey, Kalkbrenner, Ace Bailey, and Vince Williams Jr. Would you trade Giddey and Dyson for Brunson and Bane? I think I'm losing too much defense in way of defensive stats. Is it worth it?
You would be giving up the steals with Dyson, but I'm looking at the rest of the roster. None of these guys scream really good steals to me. I mean, Ryan Rollins, yes. Harden to an extent. I feel like he's not like known as a steals guy, but he is able to pretty consistently. He's under a steal per game this year. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I would do this. I think you would be selling high on Giddey, and you'd have to be pretty confident in Brunson, and you'd be buying low on Bane. I think it's pretty even, but I think I would do this. But I don't know. What do you think? I know you're probably higher on Brunson than I am, but I don't know. Maybe you're also higher on Giddey than I am.
Yeah, I don't think I would do this because of Josh Giddey. I believe what he's shown us when healthy this season is pretty much what he's going to be. So that's the reason why I would kind of press pause on this trade and probably not even do it. But yeah, I don't. Because he's out there. He's averaging a double-double. He's close to a triple-double, in fact, on the season. So I don't know if that's enough to get Brunson back for him. And obviously, Dyson for Bane. I think Dyson, you're kind of getting out ahead of the rush here, so to speak, because when Trae Young gets back, I think he's probably going to take a hit in terms of his overall value. But I don't know if I would not want to part with Josh Giddey personally.
No, that's a good way to put it. Because I mean, keeping Josh Giddey, you should, between him, Cade, James Harden, like points, rebounds, and assists, and then also the bigs should be pretty strong. Blocks should be pretty good between Miles Turner, Zach Edey, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Porzingis, Buzelis. Yeah, I think I'm fine. I think it's close. I'm going to stick with that. So if you feel more confident in saying no to this than I do. So
all right. All right, Rizzy McGuire. Do you think Dennis Jenkins will hold value when Detroit is at full strength? And if so, what do you think his minutes projection will be?
He's not going to be able to hold value just because there won't be enough minutes because, I mean, looking at it, he's been at 34, 40, 35, and 33, 34 minutes. So, no, he's not going to play 30-plus minutes per game. When Detroit is at full strength, that's Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey there. So, I think he's done enough to earn a pretty consistent 15 minutes per game. That's not enough for him to hold value in a 12-team league.
Yeah, and you also have to factor in Marcus Sasser if he ever comes back. You know, they use a first-round pick on him. Like, even if you think Jenkins is the better value in terms of comparing those two directly, I think there's going to come a point if Jenkins is healthy where he's going to get opportunities to see if he can lock down a rotation spot as well. So, and with Jenkins, he's on a two-way, and that's the other factor. Like now, if he continues to play this well, maybe they upgrade him to a standard contract. Who knows? But I don't think he's going to be able to hold value at full strength, at least in the short term. If something were to change later in the season from a contract standpoint, then maybe you can talk about it then. But I don't think he will, to be honest with you. All right, Brian, howdy. Are you guys a believer in Cam Johnson? He was dropped in my 10-team 9-cat head-to-head. Played well last night.
He did. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come, but I think it's hard to, based on what we've seen so far, be believers in Cam Johnson. But maybe that's a sign of things to come. It was a season high for points, season high for threes. I think a 10-team league is probably too shallow for me to be picking up Cam Johnson.
Yeah, I think we need to see a little more to show that he's truly back before we get into that 10-team territory. Now, the Christian Brown injury does open some things up slightly. They're starting Peyton Watson. He's not going to give you much in terms of scoring, so maybe they have to ask Cam to do a bit more. He was good last night, as I mentioned, but not in a 10-teamer right now. I think you're going to want to see a little more evidence before you get back onto that bandwagon. All right, JDA, I'm stuck. Mathurin is available, and is he a better option in category leagues over Desmond Bane or DeMar DeRozan?
I'm going to say no to Bane. I know Bane's really been rough.
Yeah.
But he's going to be fine. And the last couple of games have been better. I'm trying to figure out how big of a league this is because I wouldn't ever consider dropping Desmond Bane or DeMar DeRozan, but also Ben Mathurin shouldn't really be available. I might consider him as a better option than DeMar, but I also don't think DeMar is a droppable player at this point. So, because I think Mathurin is more of a shutdown risk than DeMar because I think the Kings aren't going to shut down DeMar. They're going to probably trade him to a team that's going to play him. In a vacuum, I'd say Mathurin is a player I'd rather have on my fantasy team at this point, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it between he and DeRozan. Mathurin will be a restricted free agent this summer. So that may also factor into the Pacers' plans in terms of how they'll use him later in the season. We saw they didn't really want to pay Miles Turner, and there didn't seem to be much of a difference between what they offered and what Milwaukee ultimately paid him. So I do wonder how that's going to impact their approach to Mathurin this summer. So in the short term, let me look up their record. I think they're 1-13. Like even in the East, that's like prime shutdown territory. Like that would be my biggest concern about adding Mathurin. Like if you're looking for a short-term boost, you may be able to get it, but I don't think you drop Bane or DeRozan for that. Okay. Which one is worth stashing? Scoot Henderson or Ty Jerome 9-cat?
Both, but I know that's probably not an option here.
Yeah.
I want to say Ty Jerome, just because I think there's a lot of question marks with Ja, with him being hurt now, always being hurt, whereas Scoot is probably going to be a backup.
Yeah.
I think Ty Jerome is going to be a backup that plays a lot, worst case scenario, but he's also got a chance to start a lot this season if Ja keeps missing time. So I actually think I'd rather have Ty Jerome.
Yeah, and plus, if you're fortunate, this current Morant injury is his extended absence that you kind of have to bake into his fantasy value just because of his injury history. But the thing is, he hasn't surpassed 65 games since his rookie year. So you kind of unfortunately, you kind of have to think that there may be another injury at some point. Then also the off-court stuff with the, disagreements, I guess you would say, between he and the head coach. That's something else to factor in. So I think Ty Jerome would be my answer for that reason as well. Okay, would you drop A.J. Mitchell for Bilal Coulibaly or Isaiah Collier in a 9-cat?
I don't think I would drop him for Bilal, but let me just make sure I'm not missing any breakout performance. But Collier is definitely an interesting one. Yeah, I'm not dropping him for Bilal at this point, even though he is a starter.
Yeah.
I would need to see him producing more consistently. Collier is the interesting one because he has been playing well as a reserve. And things like the Thunder are going to get healthier. And even if AJ Mitchell keeps playing well, I'd assume he'd lose out on at least a few minutes. So, yeah, I think I would drop him for Isaiah Collier.
Yeah, he's been really good. I think Mitchell's been really good this year. That's you kind of wonder, will it be what it is now, or is it going to be worse once they get Jalen Williams and all those other guys back? So I don't know. This feels like a case where I would try to trade him first, and then if I can't move him, then you pick up Collier. Because I think he's been too good to just drop onto the waiver wire at this point.
I agree with you. I assume that, he's definitely should be tried to maybe make him part of a 2-for-1 deal first to open up a spot to add Collier. If that doesn't work, it is tough because, I don't think that AJ Mitchell or Isaiah Collier should be on the waiver wire at this point in a 12-team league. But I don't know, is this an 8 or 10-team league or whatever? So.
Okay, got a DeAndre Ayton question here. Does his value rise or fall with LeBron, and should I shop him?
I can't see it falling by much just by having LeBron out there. I don't think LeBron's going to come in and take away maybe a couple shots from DeAndre Ayton, but everything else should still be fine. The concern is, can DeAndre Ayton just keep playing this well? Will he? I'm not super confident, but I don't think it's because of LeBron returning.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that he's going to have his opportunities, regardless who's on the floor, as a lob threat.
Yeah.
Just needs to stay engaged, basically. So, and I think he can do that to enough of a level where he'll maintain his fantasy value. Okay, this goes back to our earlier question. Would you trade Dyson Daniels for Desmond Bane in 9-cat? I think I would.
Yeah, I would. I think this would be selling high on Dyson to an extent. Sure, he can keep doing the steals thing or be insane with steals once Trae Young gets back, but the usage is going to go way down, and we saw how rough the offense was early on. Whereas Desmond Bane playing better with Paolo out, I think that's just going to get him going offensively. And whenever Banchero returns, I don't think Desmond Bane's going to be quite as bad as he was to start the year. Maybe not quite as good as he has been, but somewhere in the middle there. So I'd rather have Bane.
I agree with that. Okay, Brian has a hypothetical for us. If we had Franz Wagner and I wanted to trade for him, which 2 players would you get from this list? Podziemski, Peyton Pritchard, Devin Vassell, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Russell Westbrook, or Andrew Nembhard?
I recommend making the 2-for-1 trade. I never would take the 2-for-1 trade. So that's the only thing. Which is why trading in redraft leagues is very difficult to me, because I think you probably have to have one player that's kind of similar in production. And I don't think any of these guys are anywhere near Franz. I think you're probably looking to trade someone that's a slight tier lower that has upside to be better, but maybe you're just kind of frustrated by, and someone that has upside to be really good. Does Pritchard have the upside to be somewhere close to Franz? Not really, but kind of. Whereas if I were to look at, I guess, the 2 best players on this list, it's probably Pritchard and Nembhard. I still really like Vassell, but the opportunity just hasn't been there this year. Don't think Wemby being out is going to change all that much. Pods, still solid. Kalkbrenner's solid. Russ is Russ. So I wouldn't part with Franz Wagner for 2 or 3 of these guys. I just wouldn't do it. Yeah,
I would just politely decline your invitation. I would not. I'm not trading Franz Wagner. Like I've been on the bandwagon for a few years now, and the Banchero injury just makes me even bigger of a fan in terms of his fantasy potential. So yeah, I would not take a trade for Franz Wagner. Like I don't know if leagues have I know leagues have trade blocks, but I'd probably put him on the other side of that. Like he's untouchable basically. So yeah. Okay, and his other question, who has better rest of season value, Keegan Murray or Jaden Ivey?
Gosh, this is rough.
Yeah.
I think Jaden Ivey is going to start when he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume. I can lock in Keegan Murray as a starter and feel much more confident in that. Jaden Ivey is going to need the usage. Cade is going to take all the usage. I think Keegan has more upside rest of the season in the sense that Sacramento could trade a bunch of players and then feature Keegan more heavily on offense. I'll say Jaden Ivey, though. I'll say Jaden Ivey. I think, gosh, this is like the 2022 number 4 pick all over again. It's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say Jaden Ivey. I think that when K's off the floor, Jaden Ivey should have a lot of the usage.
Yeah.
And I just feel better about him in a category league than I do about Keegan Murray. Because there is that fear that maybe they don't trade everyone.
Yeah.
And Keegan Murray just sits there and calls for the ball, doesn't get it, and plays defense.
I feel better about the Detroit Pistons than I do the Sacramento Kings.
That's another way to put it.
That's basically how you sum this one up. Like, as much as I like Keegan Murray, his ceiling is extremely limited there in terms of who they have on their roster right now. And I don't trust them to make the moves necessary to truly showcase him moving forward. So I think for the rest of the season, I would go Jaden Ivey as well, even with the Cade Cunningham presence in that lineup. Okay, would you drop Ace Bailey to get Bilal Coulibaly and 9-cat?
Ace Bailey's still starting, correct? I didn't miss anything.
Yes,
he is. Last game he fouled out in 10 minutes. That's cool. I don't think I would. I think I'd rather have Ace Bailey. Bilal's a player that I still really like long term, but he's going to have to show me some semi-consistent production and health before I'm dropping Ace Bailey for him.
Yeah, I feel like in Washington they have better wings too. When you think about Keyshawn George, even Cam Whitmore. Those are better offensive wings that Bilal's going to have to contend with, even though he's going to start. So you look at Utah, we really haven't seen too much from those guys. You know, Bryce Sensabaugh played well the other night, that double overtime win. You've got Taylor Hendricks. I think he should be back pretty soon. Cody Williams really hasn't done much either. So I feel like Ace has a little more clearance in terms of providing value. So I would not drop him. All right. Should I trade Jaren Jackson Jr. for Desmond Bane and 11-cat?
Looks like he already did it.
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad trade.
Yeah, I think it's bad. Yeah.
I don't think that I would have been happy to trade Jaren Jackson for Desmond Bane. I think I'd rather have Jaren Jackson, but I don't think it was a bad trade by any means. And I understand if you're trying to win a specific category with field goal percentage and Jaren Jackson's really hurting you there. So like I get it. I think Jaren Jackson's got a better pathway for higher usage than Desmond Bane for the rest of the season. But at the same time, things are pretty messy in Memphis. I don't know. I'd still rather have Jaren Jackson block upside, more heavily featured on offense when everyone's healthy. So,
oh man, I think I'd rather have Bane. Even with the blocks, I feel a little bit better about his current situation in Orlando than I do Jaren's in Memphis. Mm-hmm. And the lack of rebounding from Jaren Jackson Jr. That's another issue too. So I don't think you made a bad trade at all. I can definitely see why you deliberate over this, but I don't think it was a bad trade.
And also, well, just one other factor here is that Desmond Bane's field goal percentage is 4% worse than Jaren Jackson this year.
Yeah.
So you might have, there's definitely a lot to like from Desmond Bane, especially recently. Just a thought.
I think it'll be better, but I think he will.
I hope so. Yeah, I just traded for him in a dynasty league, so I'm hoping he is much better.
Yeah. All right. Spud would like to know, should we be patient with John Collins?
Maybe not. I don't like. Yeah, I'm not super interested in being patient with John Collins. I think he doesn't have the same upside as somebody else that you might want to be patient with. I think he's either got to be a very consistent, solid producer, or you just got to leave him on the waiver wire, even if he's starting. So no, I'm not necessarily waiting around for John Collins to pop.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm out. Like that. Thought maybe with him starting, you could see like a boost, but it really hasn't happened. Like James Harden and Ivica Zubac practically dragging that team at this point, and good for 3+ quarters. But as we saw last night, it kind of run out of gas late. So, and Collins, you would expect to step up, but he hasn't done it thus far. And I don't really like what his role will be once Kawhi returns either. So I would move on from him personally. All right. Hey, Evelyn, any theory as to why there are so many calf injuries so far this year? Better IL stash, Jalen Harper or Ty Jerome?
I've seen a couple of tweets about it, and I would tend to agree, but it's pace of play that just it's a lot on players' bodies. Teams are playing faster, and there's a lot more movement on the floor, so it just results in more injuries like this. So it's just the way basketball is played. It's actually a lot on players' bodies, despite them not punching each other. But as far as the better stash, I think it is Ty Jerome. Again, just in the sense that he's got a better pathway to start, in my opinion, than Dylan Harper does. Harper's going to be really good when he's back. But that one, I think the timeline on his return is a little bit more up in the air, so he could be out a little longer. There's no reason for the Spurs to rush him back. And then obviously De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle being there just limits his on-ball opportunities.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. The Spurs just have better options overall in terms of production and health. In Memphis, it's Ja Morant. Cedric Howard has certainly had flashes, but I don't think he's going to impact Jerome too much at the point. Jalen Wells has been a bit quiet offensively this year too. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, I don't think he's been a great value guy. Let's see here. Yeah, he's outside the top 200 as well. So I think Jerome clearly has more room to be impactful in fantasy once he's cleared to play. So I would stash him as well. Right. Would you drop Ace Bailey for Tobias Harris?
I would not. Ace has significantly more upside. Tobias Harris is solid. He's reliable, but Ace Bailey has way more upside.
Yeah, it's a floor versus upside question. If you're looking for a solid floor in the short term, then Tobias would probably be the answer. But otherwise, I think it's Ace Bailey as well. So. All right. 10-team 9-cat head-to-head. Would you drop Podziemski and pick up Reed Shepherd?
I think I would. Pods was one of my favorite late round or kind of late round flyers. He's been pretty disappointing, and his role is inconsistent. Shout out to Steve Kerr. He just changes things up. Just what he does. It's what he does. Reed Shepherd's been really good the past week and a half. Don't think he should be sitting on waiver wires right now.
Yeah. I would do that as well. I think the only concern with Shepherd is the free throw percentage. He doesn't get there very often. He's about 67% on the years, but I think he does too many good things for the Rockets to be hung up on that. So, yeah, I would go ahead and make that move as well. All right. All right, Trade would like to know, is Kyle Kuzma good to start with the Giannis injury?
They started Jericho Sims the second half of that game, right?
Mm-hmm, they did. And Brian thinks it'll be Bobby Portis time, so.
There will be an opportunity for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
There will probably be somebody's gonna have to shoot shots. There will obviously be larger opportunities for multiple players. Gosh, there's nobody that's really making me want to add them. Ryan Rollins should benefit. Gary Trent Jr. could start. Like, I think Giannis missed a game or two already this year, and Bobby Portis didn't start in either.
Yeah, it was Kuzma who started those.
Yeah, so. But I'm not super excited about Kyle Kuzma. Like, he'll probably start, but didn't he just have like a 29-point game and then followed it up with a 1-point game? So just not consistent enough. There will be opportunities. There will be usage. Maybe some people will be able to predict it or whatever. I'm just like, I don't feel confident in any of them. So if one of them inevitably pops off just because somebody has to take shots and hit them, great. I don't feel confident in anybody other than Ryan Rollins.
Kuzma has been starting recently. I think Sims may have gone in to start the second half last night just because of the matchup. You're dealing with Cleveland. So I don't have much faith in him doing anything at all from a fantasy standpoint. Portis, he can be that type of player as we've seen in the past. Hasn't really done that this year, but he played 27 minutes last night. So I definitely see Brian's point in that regard. I don't know, man. Kuzma's been better in terms of fantasy value this year, but if you can get Portis to 25 minutes, I think he can close that gap. So not too thrilled about either option, but I think I would probably lean Portis of the two.
I agree. I would prefer Portis over Kuzma. I just don't feel great about either.
Yeah. Okay. Should I trade Jaren Jackson Jr. and Cedric Howard for Derek White and 9-Cat? And will Ja go away, please? Can't help you with the last part, but I'll try to help you with the first one.
I don't really want to trade Cedric Howard, but I think this is actually a 2-for-1 where I'd be fine with either side. I think if someone offered me Jaren Jackson and Cedric Howard, like, that makes sense. Like, Jaren Jackson, at his best, Derek White at his best. Derek White's probably a tier above Jaren Jackson, but it's not a massive gap. But then Cedric Howard has that upside and has been really, really good this year. So I think this is definitely an offer that if someone has Derek White, like, they're not gonna be able to say no to that, or they shouldn't say no to that if they're doing the right thing. Plus, it's a little bit of maybe it's not quite a buy low on Derek White anymore, but like, isn't he? Let me just double check these numbers. I got to remember what I'm all saying. Yeah, he's been better offensively than he was in October/early November. So hopefully this is just a sign that he's now figuring things out and how to be the number 2 option on the team. And we know he can be really good. So
yeah, I would take Derek White. Like, even though he's shooting like 36% from the field, he's still providing 3rd-round value according to Basketball Monster. So I would assume, let me look up his career percentage. He's a career 44% shooter. I don't think he's going to shoot this poorly for an entire season. So if you can get Derek White, I would be fine making this move. But and the other side should make out pretty well too with Tripp and Cedric Howard. So, all right, Green Bandit would like to know, are there any reasons to hold on to Trey Jones, TJ McConnell, or Royce O'Neal? I'm thinking they're all drops.
I would agree with you on TJ McConnell and probably agree on Trey Jones as well. Are we dropping Royce O'Neal now? He's still starting. He hasn't shot the ball quite as well the last 2 games, but he's still starting, correct? Like there isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have to come back for him to not be starting?
Probably Jalen Green.
And then Grayson Allen just got hurt last night too, right?
Yeah, he got hurt Sunday, so he's out tonight.
That's
But
what
it
I'm
doesn't
saying.
seem like it's a long-term injury. So,
But that should be more shots for Royce O'Neal, at
Mhm.
least in the short term. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't drop Royce O'Neal, but I think the other 2 I'd be fine.
Yeah, with Royce, you're just looking for 3-pointers and steals. You're not looking for too much from him from a value standpoint. I think he's fine to hold on to while you wait Grayson Allen's return. So I'd keep him. Trey Jones is a definite drop. You got Josh Giddey back, Kobe White. He didn't play last night back to back, but go those guys. Kevin Herter's been pretty good. Ayo Dosunmu as well. So I think Trey Jones is definitely a drop. McConnell as well. I think he's got an opportunity in Indiana, obviously, but the shutdown concern for one, and two, that team just isn't very good either. So the assists probably won't be as valuable as they have been in seasons past. Okay. Adam says Tobias Harris and Jalen Suggs are available on my wire. My worst players are Mark Williams and Keegan Murray. Needs forward production, has too many centers. Wemby. Wait, how'd you get Wemby and Jokic on the same team?
It's an auction.
Oh, okay. Thank God you pointed that out. Like, hold on, who are you playing with, man? But yeah, that's wow. Could you make a trade? I don't know, maybe trade Mark Williams, see if you can get a forward who.
If you have all these centers, somebody's got to need a center.
Yeah.
So you should be able to trade one of them because I agree. I think that Tobias Harris and Jalen Suggs should be rostered players.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that Mark Williams and Keegan Murray should be rostered players.
Yeah.
So I'd be trying, make some sort of consolidation trade, even if you have to somewhat lose by value just to get a slightly better player than the 2 players you're trading, just to open up a spot. I like doing that type of trade.
Yeah. Wow, that's some impressive auction. You get all those guys on your team. That's crazy. Like,
yeah.
All right. PJ Washington, you holding 12-team 9-cat head-to-head. Inefficiency and turnovers making it hard to stomach his other mid-production. Okay to drop and take on another potential headache in John Collins.
I think I'd rather deal with the PJ Washington headache than the John Collins headache, especially with all the injuries in LA. But there are injuries in Dallas, or excuse me, that's what I meant. All the injuries in Dallas, but there's also injuries in LA. I'd rather have PJ Washington.
Yeah, you had me until you mentioned John Collins. We're not picking up John Collins around these parts. So I think I would hold on to PJ with the injuries in Dallas. That's the biggest reason to hold on to him. Like, he's been inefficient. Hopefully the rest of your roster is strong enough to where you can compensate for that to a certain extent. But I think I would hold on to him for now. All right, let's go back to Adam's question really quick. He said he tried trading Mark Williams, but no luck. Maybe Matas Bizelis, and he also provided his full roster. Okay, yeah. Drew, Keontae George, quickly, OG Anunoby, Kamara, Keyshawn George, Murray. Then you've got all the centers, and Miller's an IR. I guess the follow-up question I would have is, do you only have one IR spot? Because if you have 2, you can drop OG and Anunoby into that second spot. But if it's just one, man, yeah, I think I'm with Noah in terms of trying to figure out a consolidation trade where you may give up 2 for 1 to free up a roster space for either Tobias or Suggs.
Yeah, I'd be probably looking to move on this team, Keontae George and Mark Williams. I think that's probably like pairing them 2 together because Keontae George is off to a really, really hot start, and I don't know that he's been able to maintain that. So I probably would be trying to sell high on him a little bit. And also you might want to swap OG and Brandon Miller anyway, just because Brandon Miller is practicing with the G League team, so he might be back soon. But that's something you can probably do on your own time. But Keontae George and Mark Williams is a consolidation trade. I think that's a good plan.
Yeah. And he only has one IR spot. So thank you for clearing it up for us, Adam. All right. An 11 cat, would you drop Brandon Williams for Keegan Murray?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Brandon Williams is tough, or a tough player, unless I'm missing something. He's still starting, correct? He didn't get benched. I didn't miss that.
He's still starting.
But, I mean, we saw, I guess there was a couple games ago now, so he is still starting, still playing pretty well. But if he has a rough couple games and D'Angelo Russell starts heating up for a few games, which we know he's capable of, like that lineup could change and Brandon Williams can come off the bench. But when Keegan Murray's healthy, he's going to be starting for the Kings and helping them out defensively because they need his defense back.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Okay, James needs to drop one of Bogdan Bogdanovic or Kyle Filipowski in a Roto league.
I'd probably drop Filipowski because Bogey's just playing too well right now. Let me just make sure I'm not missing any just really bad performances before I say this. But he's playing really well since Bradley Beal went down. Okay, last game, only 9 points, but still playing a large role.
Top 100 last week.
Yeah. So. Assists, some steals in there, obviously some threes. I'd rather enjoy this stretch of production right now and then maybe add Filipowski in a couple months because I assume that he'll have another strong last couple months of the year.
Yeah, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like in Roto leagues, you're not really looking too far into the future as opposed to like a category league. So I would definitely prefer Bogdan in this spot.
Yeah, I would prefer him short term and then wait because you're not going to use Filipowski in a Roto league, in my opinion, until he's like definitely starting. So.
Okay. Do you think Isaiah Jackson will keep this up? Or should I trade him now? 14 team with 2 centers league, so centers are hard to come by.
I saw he had people tweeting about him having a good game last night. I didn't see exactly how much he had, but I think basically all season long, you need to wait for Isaiah Jackson to have a good game and then try and trade him right after.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's probably going to be up and down all year. There probably will be some more good games like this throughout the season, but we saw what happened in the past. He had that 3-game stretch and then went 21-10 with a double-double and then a couple duds in a row. Then he got moved to the bench, had a double-double, and then a couple duds in a row. Now he's having a good game. It could be 1 or 2 more good games. But then it's probably going to be back to some duds. So I just think he's too inconsistent. Try and sell high after a good game.
Yeah. I'm a bit surprised. He's only averaging 0.4 blocks per game. For someone of his athleticism, and obviously you have to take the Achilles tendon injury into consideration, but given the reputation he had when he came into the league, that's a bit shocking for me in terms of the value. So I'm with Noah. He had a good game. Now you go ahead and try to trade him. All right. So you like Keyshawn George more than Keontae George. And I think he's trying to figure out which one of these two to use in that consolidation deal we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. I like Keyshawn George more. Maybe that's a little bit of my dynasty mindset.
Yeah.
But I feel pretty confident in Keyshawn George's role and production being pretty consistent rest of the season. When he doesn't score, he does a lot of other things. Keontae George is on a hot streak, and he's been much better as a passer this year than he ever has in the past. Yeah. But I think it just takes him cooling off with his shot, and then his value takes a massive hit, which if we look at it over the course of the season, he's shooting 41%, but last 2 weeks, it's 39%. Last 3 games, sub 40%. So he is having some really impressive shots, some really impressive games, specifically early on this year. I think it's it's probably time to try and see if you can sell before things could take an even bigger hit.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. All right, Kool-Aid tripping. Which three would you keep for the rest of the season? Grayson Allen, Ryan Rollins, Trey Jones, Paul George, Tumani Kamara.
Rollins, Paul George, Tumani, pretty easily for me. Grayson Allen next, Trey Jones last. I wouldn't consider Trey Jones a rest of the season option unless there's an injury. Grayson Allen should be good for a little while longer until Jalen Green's back, but at some point I assume, or no, he didn't go to the bench when Jalen Green came back, but he'll lose out on some shots.
Yeah, Ryan Dunn went to the bench. Yeah.
Ooh. So then maybe it's Grayson Allen over Tumani. No, I still prefer Tumani. I would not drop Ryan Rollins or Paul George. Mm-hmm. Paul George is just, there's too much name value there for me to ever drop him. If you want, you can trade him. Don't know how that works, where like just kind of depends on who's in your league. Maybe you're able to get some value just off the name Paul George. Mm-hmm. But no chance I'm dropping Ryan Rollins. Tumani, Grayson Allen's probably a little bit of a closer toss-up. I still think I'd lean Tumani, though.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that this sticking point would be either Allen or Kamara for me as well. Adam brings up this point on Tumani. He's been underperforming, but the role is too secure to consider dropping in a 10-teamer. I think I would lean Kamara slightly, betting on both the shooting and that the defensive numbers increase a bit as well. So I think he would be my third pick out of those options that Kool-Aid Trippin gave us earlier. So George, Rollins, and then Kamara for me as well.
And I think that goes with the rest of season aspect of that question. Mm-hmm. Probably over the next month, I'd prefer Grayson Allen. Yeah. I just feel more confident in Tumani rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is Grimes a must roster in 9-cat?
I think so. I have him rostered, I believe.
Yeah.
He comes in and he takes a lot of shots, plays a ton of minutes. He's been productive. So it's surprising to me. I didn't expect that at all. But I think let me see. Well, he's playing, a lot of his questions have been 10-team leagues, correct?
Yeah. Yes. I believe a few of them were earlier. Yeah.
So maybe that's, or no, he had a 12-team 9-cat question earlier.
Okay.
So then, yeah, I would say 12-team. He probably is a roster, like a player roster.
Yeah, I believe he is. Yeah, because Paul George is going to be on a minutes restriction for a while. Like they're not going to try to give him too many minutes. He played 21 last night. So I think Philadelphia is going to try to play it cool with his playing time for a bit. Grimes played 35 minutes last night. So you're getting that type of run off the bench. I think the one concern would be if Jared McCain were to get hot. But I still think Grimes is going to play plenty. So, yeah, I think he's a must roster right now, too. Okay, he's got Bilal Koulibaly, Tobias Harris, Isaiah Jackson, Ace Bailey, and Bogdan Bogdanovic in only 2 starting spots. Who should I start?
Oh, yeah, matchups will be important.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is this wait. Well, I'm assuming this is not just for tonight. Like, I guess is it for the rest of the week or is it for?
I would assume for the rest of the week.
Okay, then let's look at that. So let's see. Washington plays. Oh gosh, what am I doing?
Yeah, they've got 3 games between now and the end of the week. Let's see, Detroit. They only have 2 more, so I think that kind of takes Tobias Harris out of the equation. In addition, we don't know for sure if he's going to play tonight. So,
with the Washington has 3 games, one of those is a back-to-back. So
yeah,
I think Bilal will only play 2 of those.
Point. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Indiana only has 2 games. Let's see how quickly
Clippers have 3, including a back-to-back in the final 4 days. And Utah has the 2 after tonight at Friday and Sunday. Man, I think from a scheduling standpoint, these aren't really great options. But I think I would start Ace Bailey and thought about Isaiah, but that matchup against Cleveland on Friday, that just feels like it's ripe for him to just put up a stinker.
Yeah. I think I'm leaning Ace Bailey and Bogdan unless, let's see, if Tobias Harris comes back tonight, that's definitely going to be a consideration for him. But that's 2 pretty good defensive teams, 2 pretty bad matchups. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with Ace Bailey and Bogdan Bogdanovic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he played in both games, their most recent back-to-back too, Sunday, Monday. So I think Bogdan will be pretty safe for that reason. So those would be my 2 picks as well. Would you trade Kristaps Porzingis for Derek Queen in a 9-cat?
I would not do that. I think Derek Queen is a player that absolutely should be rostered. I don't think I'd trade Kristaps for him.
Yeah. I like his upside, but I don't know about this season because we're talking the Pelicans here, but no more. All right. Okay, we've got a 2 for 3 trade here, 9-cat head-to-head. Giddey and Maxey for Jamal Murray, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton.
I don't think I would.
I'm not giving up. If you're talking about giving up Giddey and Maxey, I'm not doing that. If you think you can get them for these 3 players, I would do that.
I think you're looking at, like, if I'm ranking these players rest of the season, it's probably Maxey, Booker, Giddey, Jamal Murray, Ayton. I don't think that I would give up. Like, DeAndre Ayton isn't enough of a swing factor there for me to give up Giddey and Maxey for Jamal Murray and Devin Booker. But it's a pretty freaking big trade if you make that. So it's exciting, but I wouldn't do it.
All right. Do you see Mark Williams producing like he did with Charlotte? Basketball Monster has been projected in the top 50 this year, but it's been rough on the Suns.
Let's see what he has been doing and how that compares to Charlotte.
He's top 60 right now. I don't think it's been that bad.
Yeah.
I think the concern is another injury if you're to.
I mean, the steals being up helps.
Yeah.
But the rebounds are down, the points are down. But if we're looking at more recently, still not great. I don't know if he'll be able to match what he was able to do on a per game basis in Charlotte, especially last year. But I think the blocks will get back over 1 per game.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is a rough one because it's like there's just so much of an injury history there where it's like I could think he's going to play better basketball.
Yeah.
But if he's not on the court.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I don't know if he'll get the Charlotte levels just because you have so many other scorers in that offense, but I think he'll be fine. I think he should threaten top 50 value for the rest of the season. So I don't think we're asking too much, but again, the injuries, that's the concern. He hasn't played 50 games in a season in his NBA career yet. So that's where the concern lies for me. All right. Would you trade Giddey for Maxey in a 9-cat?
I would. I'd rather have Tyrese Maxey rest of the season than Josh Giddey.
Love what Giddey's done, but Maxey has been even more productive from a fantasy standpoint. Yeah. So Yeah, I would prefer Tyrese Maxey as well. All right. Should I hold and trade Paolo Banchero? Should I hold or trade? Because I'm 0-4 in the Orlando Pro head-to-head points league. Huh.
I mean, I'd look to trade Paolo. You probably are going to have to take a slight hit in value to move him. But if you're 0-4, you need someone that's out there playing basketball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would try and move him.
Yeah. Whatever you can do to shake up your roster at this point, you kind of have to do. Like, if you're, say, 0-2, I think you could have a little more patience. But 0-4 plus him being out right now, I think this is a good time to try to find some value to get your team going. All right, Daniel, thanks for tuning in again. Please rank these players: Colin Murray-Boyles, Colin Gillespie, Cal Filipowski, Herb Jones, and Brandon Williams, 9-Cat Dynasty.
This one's pretty straightforward to me. Colin Murray-Boyles, number 1.
Yeah.
Filipowski, 2. Herb Jones, 3. And then, like, huge, massive, well, actually, a pretty decent teardrop after Filipowski before Herb. Another pretty massive teardrop. Then Gillespie or Brandon Williams. I don't know. I don't really have a strict opinion off the top of my head. But they're guys that are benefiting from injuries that I think are solid NBA rotation pieces, but nowhere near the upside of a guy like Colin Murray-Boyles.
Yeah, that's how I'd rank them as well. I guess I would go Gillespie 4th and then Williams 5th. But you can probably go either way with those two. It's just the first 3 where I think it's pretty clear. Murray-Boyles, Filipowski, and Herb Jones right now. All right. What do you think of Kevin Durant, Ace Bailey, and Wendell Carter Jr. for Amen Thompson, Quentin Grimes, and Kyrie Irving?
I am not banking on Kyrie Irving playing basketball this season at this point.
Yeah.
I think entering the year, I thought so because entering the season, Nico Harrison was the GM, and it felt like they were going to do everything in their power to make the playoffs. Cooper Flag was going to get playoff experience. Anthony Davis was going to play a lot because there was that external motivation of I have to prove that I'm right, but they didn't give him the chance to make that happen. If the season started off better, maybe they would have. But so I can't really factor Kyrie into this. Amen's kind of struggled. I think I'd rather just keep KD, Ace Bailey, and Wendell Carter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would not make this trade if I were you. Okay, please compare Keegan Murray and Tobias Harris. Murray's projected much higher, but I'm worried about the Kings' mess.
I feel like they're actually pretty similar in terms of production. Keegan Murray can probably just get you some more defensive stats, but he's not like a 1.5 steal type guy. He's like a just under 1 steal, just under 1 block type guy.
Yeah.
I honestly just think they're pretty similar. So if you're just looking at it in terms of how they are valued, Keegan Murray is I feel like tends to be valued higher. So maybe you can use that to try and trade him. But it's the outlier 3-point shooting that's going to be the difference here. But Keegan Murray's threes have gone down every year of his career. So hopefully that can get back up. I mean, if it's where it was during his rookie year and everything else kind of sticks around the same, I'd rather have Keegan Murray, but I don't think that it's too far off.
Yeah, I think Keegan may offer a slightly higher ceiling, but I think Tobias's floor may be a bit safer, if anything. So, yeah, I think overall they're about even. So I think it's one of the questions, do you want to go with the ceiling and betting on the fact that the Kings would move, some of their veteran wings? Then you go with Murray. But if you're not confident in that, I think you can make a case for Tobias Harris being the better option here. Okay. Will Tyler Heroes return her Norman Powell or Jaime Jaquez Jr. more?
Both are going to get hurt. I just think Jaime Jaquez probably gets hurt more because Norman Powell's I assume still going to start.
He should. I think Pella Larson probably be the one who heads to the bench. Now, that'd make him pretty small on the perimeter, but I think he would be the one who would go to the bench once Hero returns.
Yeah, because it would be Davion Mitchell, Tyler Hero, Norm Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Bam, when everyone's healthy, with Ware off the bench as well.
Yeah.
I think there's even a possibility that Norm Powell ends up going to the bench, but if he does, then that hurts Jaime Jaquez even more because then Norm Powell is the sixth man, not Jaime Jaquez. So, yeah, one way or another, Jaime's hurt more.
Yeah. So the possibility to see the Knicks versus Thunder in the finals. I mean, why not? Still a lot of basketball to be played, but
why not us?
Exactly. All right. Would you drop any of the following to pick up C.J. McCollum, Brandon Williams, Andre Drummond, Luke Cornett, Royce O'Neal, Isaiah Collier, 10-team 9-cat, assist to turnovers head-to-head?
The last Embiid update was pretty encouraging, right?
Yeah. He's basically day-to-day at this stage.
I don't think I would drop Cornett or Collier. I don't really want to drop Brandon Williams. I think that Drummond's time as a starter has probably got the shortest shelf life. Like I think that Embiid could be back within a couple games. So it's between Drummond and Royce to me. I think I feel a little bit more confident in keeping Royce O'Neal just because when Grayson Allen comes back, Royce may take a slight hit in shot attempts, but he's still going to be starting. He's going to be out there and he's going to shoot the shots when they come to him. So he's got at least another, I would say at least a month until Jalen Green's back.
Yeah.
I think I would probably drop Andre Drummond.
I'd drop Brandon Williams. I would keep Drummond because Embiid may be back soon, but we don't know how long he'll be on the floor once the time comes. So
that's fair.
I would not feel good dropping him. I'd keep Luke Cornett for obvious reasons. I think Royce and Collier I would roster as well. So I would drop Brandon Williams personally. All right, we got a few left and rush through here in a couple minutes. All right, I know that Cornett will start in place of Wemby. However, what are your thoughts on Devin Vassell and Jeremy Sohan's production in Wemby's absence? Thanks, Clint.
I assume that they'll both see an uptick in minutes/usage. I mean, maybe not even minutes for Vassell, maybe just usage, but minutes for Sohan. So he'd probably benefit Sohan more. I assume both guys benefit. Everyone on the team should benefit at least a little bit. Vassell was already a player that should be rostered. Maybe take a flyer on Sohan just because, I mean, they're not going to be playing Luke Cornett 35 minutes a game. I don't know how much they want to rely on Kelly Olynyk and Bismack Biyombo, so you could see some small ball lineups with Sohan at the 5, which could be pretty interesting. So maybe you take a flyer on him if you can. Probably not in maybe like a 12 or 14. Probably more confident in a 14-team league.
Yeah, Vassell's gotten off to a slow start, but this could be something that serves as a catalyst for him in terms of increased usage. So I think he'll be better. Sohan, his minutes will likely increase. Like Bismack Biyombo is not going to be in the rotation unless more people get hurt. So we don't have to worry about that. Olynyk, where are you looking at? I think you're looking at like 15, 18 minutes a night for him. And then Cornett's the starter. So I think Sohan will have opportunities. If they want to go small and put him at the 5, they can do that as well. But I think those two guys are two that could potentially benefit from the usage that will come as a result of Wemby's absence here. Okay. Any faith in Jalen Suggs this year? You know, the knee injury, and then he hurt his groin recently. Seems to be injury prone with the way that he plays.
I mean, I think that he's a player that should be rostered. I think he's got upside to be really impactful in category leagues. A lot of it does come from the steals, but also increased offensive usage with Paolo out. That'll help him some. The minutes are getting up. I guess the one question is he's shooting 53.8% from the floor this year. Last year he was at 41%. The year before that, 47.1%. So, like, which one's the outlier? I assume that the shooting's going to regress a little, or the field goal percentage is going to regress a little bit. But also, he's made less threes, taken less shots. I still think he's a rosterable player. Hopefully, he doesn't keep dealing with all these injuries.
Yeah. Okay, last question before we get out of here, and it's from Perfect. Where do you guys think Ja Morant's value is in Dynasty at this point? I don't want to sell low, but I'm also just worried there's never going to be a rebound.
Yeah, his value is probably maybe not pretty close to an I don't want to say all-time low, but it's pretty low.
Yeah.
Other situations have had his value probably lower, but I had him top 40 entering the year. I would still say he's probably top 60. I just think it's probably going to also be difficult to get top 60 value for him.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's dealing with an injury. He's clearly frustrated with the team. The team's not playing well. He's got an injury history, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be difficult to get a player of that anywhere close to his type of value right now because nobody's going to want to be trading for him at value. People are going to want to buy low. So you're probably going to have to wait for some sort of rebound. Honestly, what maybe you do is you wait for him to get healthy. You wait for him to have a good game or two. Then you try and trade him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. And that we're going to end on that. Thanks again for all of your questions and comments. It's slightly over our time, but it's okay. We will be back on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Thanks again, and enjoy the games tonight.